Focus may be the most important thing that we do to design the life that we want. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and he brought up the fact that we've all heard this before, but he brought up the fact that isn't it interesting how some people can come from the same nature and the same nurture? You know, they're born and raised up by the same family, go through the same things, or at least very similar things, and then come out with very, very different results. I was thinking about that, and in transparency, also thinking about the fact that we're going into our focus series at KMMA, and the students are working on their focus lessons, the ones that the sensei will give, the one that I'm giving tonight on what's important now with their stripe test. But I started thinking about how focusing a very specific focus is the most important thing. It's the thing that makes the difference. Nature has an influence and nurture has an influence. The things that happen to us, as Jim Rohn said, happen to all of us. So in other words, this is where two people also go through the same thing, have the same conditions, positive or negative, but produce very different results. And I think it's because focus in a way that creates identity. Because our identity ultimately determines how we act and react, and we have this thermostat. And if our focus isn't right and our identity isn't right, what will happen is we'll continue to sabotage ourselves, even in situations where we're making progress and we feel like, oh, it's going great, but then you find out that you slip back. And of course, we've all experienced this personally, professionally, financially, physically, in relationships. And again, focus is the first black belt superpower at KMMA for a reason. It's the most powerful and important, although they are all powerful, important, and interdependent as a matter of fact. But today I want to talk specifically about how to focus in a way that creates the kind of identity that helps you design the life of your dreams. And I, of course, am doing the same with mine because it isn't done yet. And I think that's part of the focus is that when we focus our thoughts and beliefs, that's what I'm going to say is the ultimate focus. When we focus our thoughts and beliefs on an ideal desire, on the direction we're going to, on what we're working toward, who we're becoming, what we want to accomplish. While we're still doing that at any stage of life, there is the excitement and energy and spark, and I would say God-given, that comes from that pursuit. And unfortunately, when we focus on negative realities of current existence or our past, we unfortunately invoke the opposite. Our thoughts and our beliefs actually create our actions and reactions and behaviors. They create our identity. They set the thermostat. And then we get what we attract through that setting. That's why it can be so hard sometimes to accomplish something that you really want. But you're like, and you feel like you're doing the work. But you're like, how come in this particular area I cannot seem to crack the code? And again, we've all experienced that. It's different areas. Different people have success in different areas and challenges in other areas. And I believe that this secret is the secret to cracking the code in any of them. It's a mindset and it's a focus lesson. And I'm going to share, because as often happens, God always sends exactly the information to help whatever it is that I'm already meditating upon. And so as I was meditating upon how I would give this lesson on focus to identify, rather to create an identity that pulls us in the direction we want to go instead of anchoring us in the place that we're at. Often what will happen is I just happen to put on a podcast or pick up a book and supporting information is there. And so that was this one. And this is this podcast was from was from the great Ed Milet, and he had a podcast, The Hidden Pattern Destroying Your Success, Delete Your Old Self. Really, really good. It was his weekend podcast this weekend, and I took notes on 7 symptoms that you're sabotaging your success that I wanted to share with you because I think they're directly relevant to this lesson on focusing your focus to create the identity, to create the life that you want. And number 1 is focus on the past. And Ed made the great point that rather you're focusing on a negative past that is creating one kind of anchor, or even rather you're focusing on a very positive past, but it's keeping you stuck there. And especially, I would say, if you happen to be comparing yourself to that earlier reality. But at any rate, focusing on the past, of course, keeps us from moving into the future. So it's okay to bring those lessons with us. It's okay to keep those memories, to look at the pictures when they pop up on your phone once in a while. But focusing in the past will keep you in the past. The second is focusing on what you don't have instead of focusing on what you do. I think that this is one of the most powerful ones of all. We also have the superpower of gratitude as one of our 6 black belt superpowers, and it's for that reason. Because if we focus energy and gratitude on what we have instead of on what we don't have, coming from that place helps us to produce more of what we want. Not only that, but you feel a lot happier while you do. The third is comparison. And again, he talked about, I remember I learned this concept first years ago from Darren Hardy, and he used lots of great examples of lots of great people to make the point. And he said, most people are comparing their backstage reality with somebody else's front stage persona. And that was a great one, even back when I heard it. And that was before the time of social media fakeness. But that's what that is today, of course, right? Like especially young people, they are on there scrolling and they're seeing the finely filtered pictures of the other people and the fake life and only the best possible scenario. In the podcast, Ed actually told a story about how he was sitting at a restaurant and he was watching this family just fight, like the brother and sister were fighting, and the sister hit the brother, so the dad said something that he shouldn't have said to the sister, and the mom was yelling at the dad, and then all of a sudden the waiter gets to the table and they go, "Oh, take a picture," and all of a sudden it's one big happy family. And we've all been guilty of that too, haven't we, taking that picture? So the important thing is not to compare yourself against those other people's pictures, nor to even compare yourself against yourself in an earlier stage of life, your relationship with somebody that you've been with a long, long time against the very, very early new version of that. All those comparisons are thieves of happiness in the moment and thieves of creating a better future. And the fourth one was focus on what you can't control. Does that sound familiar or what? Of course, one of our Black Belt leadership principles, circle of concern, circle of control, and we only focus where we both care and can do something about it. It's the union of that Venn diagram is the things that we have that we're passionate about and we can do something about, because the focus on the outside is destructive. Not only distracting, but even destructive at times, which comes to number 5, which is, actually it's number 6 is get distracted, but number 5 is get discouraged. Number 5 is get discouraged. And actually he said something I never thought about before, and I'm going to definitely end up teaching on here. Be another thing that becomes a part of the KMMA Black Belt Leadership System, because I heard it and I liked it and I loved it. And I said, this is awesome. And what he said is, what is discouraged? Discourage. It's robbing you, robbing us, robbing one of their courage. So getting discouraged, of course, can rob one of the courage to move boldly into a better, stronger future, into the vision that they have for themselves. And number 6 is getting distracted. And in our focus series, and both what I'm sending out on emails and what we're doing is the lessons here in the dojo and all the things, we're putting a lot of focus on focus around this particular thing, because we live in a very distracted world. And then there's number 7 is having a little success. He made the point that sometimes we can have a little success, a little progress in the area on which we're focused, and it actually causes us to slow down, to mess with that thermostat, and instead of the intense, I'm using my own words again here now, the intense focus of T, time, energy, and attention, that created some progress in the first place, we relax that intensity, we relax that focus, and of course, then the results relax as well. So all of these are signs that we are sabotaging our thoughts, our beliefs, our mind, our identity, and thus our success. Closing the way I started, because I tried to put the message up front. Focus your mind. Focus your thoughts and beliefs. Focus forward instead of backward. Focus in the moment to realize, to execute, so that we can create a better future. And when we do all those things, not only are we more successful, but I believe we're more happy. I believe that the reason I'm up and running every morning early and chasing my dreams is because I still believe that the future for myself and my family and my tribe and my team is better, stronger, faster than anything we've been able to accomplish to this point. And I think that focus is it's we talk about it with the 6 Black Belt Superpower 2 vision, but perhaps focus on that vision is the thing that pulls us forward instead of anchoring us where we're at. Prepare to live, empowered to lead. I'm Grandmaster Stephen Castillo, founding Chief Master Instructor at Krav Maga Martial Arts. And if you're hearing this and you're one of my students, I'm proud of and grateful for you, and I look forward to continuing to have this discussion about focusing our focus to accomplish great things. And if not, and you're not part of our tribe yet, and this kind of thing resonates with you, I'd like to meet you soon. Make it a great day.